Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm excited to be joined again by my friend and business partner, Mr. Michael Benson. He's always got these awesome intros. You got to see it on video, though. Can't just do
Hey,
audio. You got to see the video.
it's not that interesting. I got to get some new material.
No, it's much more interesting than my intro.
You can only do the, you know,
Vogue,
Vogue
the Vogue
thing
thing.
so many times. Is that over? Is that like just yesterday? Does that show that I'm a dad? I'm like your stereotypical dad.
Yeah, lived in the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's
Yeah,
60s.
Vogue was big in like the 80s, I think, right?
I don't know. It does. I don't know. To me, the 80s are still like 15, 20 years ago for some reason to me. I can't believe it's 40 years ago that they were 80. But anyways,
Oh my goodness. Well, the big topic for today, government shutdown effects on the freight industry. And we
did the
found this
government shut down?
article. Um, as of right now, 8 days it's been shut down.
Wow, it has. Yeah, I'm being facetious. I mean, it's all you see, right? Is government shut down.
Yes,
It's your fault.
absolutely.
No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault.
Nope, exactly right. And we found this article from Universal Cargo, how the government shutdown affects shippers importing and exporting goods. So we were reading up
Yeah.
on this, talking offline. The longest ever in U.S. history was 35 days in 2018.
And it lasted into 19, right? It always happens in the fall, end of the year type of thing. But yeah,
Yeah, that was the longest. And it was a fight over the funding for the border wall. That was the
that's right.
one. Yep, that was that was a long one. Um, and unfortunately,
Yep.
it's affecting people. I have a family member that's not getting paid right now, and it's taking PTO to cover, themselves. So they're burning through PTO,
Yeah.
so they don't have no payroll, and that's an unfortunate thing. And
It
there's
really is. And it's a great point to bring up, Andy, because, we're going to talk about this from the perspective of freight, et cetera, which is, and I know it's in your mind and it is in mine, a bit of a crass way to look at this because you and I are much more in tune than a lot of people, maybe not, hopefully not most, but of how this impacts really everyday people. Like, the person and many more who are hurting because they're working without pay. And how long is that going to happen? They're hurting on day 8, right? And as we go through this and the impacts on freight movement, et cetera, the impacts are nothing compared to what some people are feeling right now, and not to be unfeeling about that or unconscious about that, right? um it's a really bad thing for those people that depend on that going on. So I
absolutely.
just I just wanted to say that I think it's a fantastic approach to look
Yeah,
at what is impacting people.
it is impacting people, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and there's several different areas. It really covers a lot of different areas in freight, this article
Mm,
does.
it does.
Um, the first one, customs clearance delays, right? Um, the Customs and Border Patrol operations continue, but there's other partner agencies like the FDA, EPA, and USDA that are either operating on skeleton crews or completely furloughed right now. For shippers, it likely means longer wait times for documents and inspections, delays in clearing shipments, increased risk of spoilage or missed delivery windows. So that's in
Yeah.
terms of customs clearance. There's a lot of potentially bad impacts, and the longer it goes, the worse it gets, basically.
Yeah, 100%. Because even those that are running a custom clearance and that type of stuff, your CBP people and that type of stuff, right now they're working without pay, and they're working, and that's cool for a week. But then when that paycheck doesn't come, it gets a little bit different. It's a lot of bit different,
Yeah, it gets hairy.
because ain't nobody excited about back pay.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, I'll
Yeah.
pay you in a month. That don't work for the majority of people. That's not cool. And that's when you start seeing some real impacts in the freight industry, but not as bad as it could get. That's in another week or two or 30 days out, right?
Right.
That's where those type of impacts, where those delays really start happening, where there's very few people starting to show up for work, right?
Right. Right. And that the next area that talks about port operations during the 2018 shutdown,
Mm.
dwell times at the Port of Los Angeles and Long Beach rose by 15 to 20%. So ports will likely see some delays. And again,
And
longer it
that's from the
goes.
same. That's it's the same. Is it the? I would guess it's the same causation, right? Because the longshoremen are not federally paid, so it's the ability to offload and move things, or not offload the ships, but moving stuff out of the port because it's got to clear customs,
Right. It's got
right?
to clear
So you either
customs.
rubber stamp everything, and then we don't know what the heck's coming into the country, which I think it talks about that in this article as well, which is interesting, right? Your dumping type of thing, international dumping starts to happen.
Right.
You
Right.
go, yeah,
Absolutely. Yep. Customs is affected. And then export licensing and trade enforcement. Right.
yeah,
You're in the
yeah.
middle of trying to get your export license. There's a long queue right now for that. Right. So it's going to delay some of
Yeah,
that.
I've never tried to get one. Well, I mean, a long, long time ago, but not recently. In the late '90s, I got one. But yeah, I don't know what the queue is right now, but it's about to get longer.
Yes. Right. Exactly right.
Yeah,
It will
yeah,
be
it
getting
is.
longer for sure. And then, air cargo. Air cargo is tied to trucking, and TSA staff are unpaid right now. So let's just say you're a TSA staff member. How long are you going to go without a paycheck?
Like I said, until the first one gets missed.
Right? I'm wondering
Yeah,
how many of those TSA people right now are looking around for a job that pays the same or better than TSA does right now. You
the
know?
smart ones started looking the day that this went down.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
just have something in their back pocket.
I mean, let's just be honest.
You always come back to this job once it comes back,
Right.
right?
Let's be honest about it. The TSA pay rate is not that phenomenal, right?
I'm not sure what they make, but I'm sure they're not upper middle class.
Right, right. You could
It's
replace
just
this
not.
job with a warehousing job or a retail job or
I would
other.
think so.
Yeah,
I would think
yeah.
so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's that for sure. And then the warehousing and retail impact really it talks about uneven flows, right? Some delays here and there. If you've got tight time windows, you got a delay. Well, now you got to call your staff. I need you to come back, or I need you to come in 2 hours later tomorrow, or whatever. It's the uneven flows that are going to affect warehouses and retailers, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And the future ripple, if it is the longer this, right? The longer this goes, the more impact there is to actual freight flow. I mean, right. In other words, like right now, it isn't going to impact the amount of imported goods, other than they slow down because it's more difficult to get through the funnels, right?
Right,
Because of the lack of clearance, et cetera, that type of stuff.
right.
But the longer this goes on, the more it goes into the pocketbook of the collective consumer. And then there's actual real freight flow demand impacts from a lack of buying power or desire to, or faith or goodwill in the economy, right? That's the
Yeah,
longer term stuff, which we've never gotten to really. We've never seen that type of thing happen. The longest was 35 days. That's not long enough to do that type of long term damage type of
not a
thing, right?
long-term damage, right?
Right.
Short-term effects, but not long-term
Yeah.
economic impacts, really. Um,
Right. Right. Right.
absolutely. It's just uneven flows of material coming and going. You got to make some adjustments here and there and try and minimize the disruptions as best you can, basically.
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
because what people don't think about is like, okay, this primary industry or service is being impacted, but there's all kinds of support that gets hurt too, and it may not be your primary business to serve TSA or the ports or the clearance and that type of stuff, but if it's a percentage, it impacts your business. and that starts to flow all over the place. So that's what I'm saying. The longer it goes, the more it starts to eat into the collective pocketbook of the entire U.S. economy.
Right, right. It reminds me of a story. I worked for a company called Builder Square. It used
Mm-hmm.
it
Oh, I
used to be.
remember Builders Square. Heck
Do you
yeah.
really? Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
Yep,
they used to be, a precursor to Lowe's and Home Depot's
that's right.
exploding.
They're
It
like
was
the
Chris
original DIY, right?
original DIY, exactly. It was Christmas season. Okay.
Yeah,
And we had to unload Christmas trees. And also the retail, was selling way faster, of course. Well, I worked like an 8-hour shift, right? And we were only like half done. And the manager said, "Hey, can you guys come back at 5 in the morning?" So, fortunately for us, we got time and a half for overtime.
yeah.
Unfortunately for Builder Square, they had to pay time and a half for all that additional labor, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So positive for the worker, not so great for the seller. And but we were working as many hours as we could do because we were just putting so much product out. I remember one time we unloaded 4 full trucks of trees. Okay.
Yeah.
4 full trucks. I had sap from head to toe. I was covered in sap.
I bet
Oh
you were.
man, I had sap all over me. Oh man, but it was a short-term impact kind of a thing. After about 3 weeks of that, we're back to an even flow, and
Yeah.
it got back to normal. But in the short term, it affected all of us workers, and the,
Yeah.
and the manager, the poor manager. I think he was pulling his hair out. Like, oh, can you imagine? Okay, we're
Oh,
only
yeah.
halfway through the freight that we have to unload and put on the shelves, and what am I going to do, right? And he's going to get
Yep.
reamed by somebody at headquarters too.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Get torn apart. Yeah, yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's
um,
something he probably couldn't even control. But this government shutdown is not at that point yet.
right,
It's impacting real people, unfortunately, and that is tragedy in many cases. That just sucks. But as far as the freight industry is concerned itself, it's nowhere near what the impact could be if but it's going to have to go for quite a while for it to be that big of it. It's going to have to be significant numbers of people quit showing up to jobs that they're guaranteed back pay, which doesn't really help anybody out.
right,
Back pay.
right. Yeah, and at a summary level, if the government shutdown ends quickly, there'll be minimal impacts. If it goes a lot longer, there'll be more impacts.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, that's common sense, but it is interesting to go through these different impact points and understand where they're at, because it's not just that, hey, well, there's a few people out of work, therefore we're not buying freight. No, the government is definitely in the middle allowing freight to move in and out of the country, and that makes it very difficult.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So we'll see more to come on this. Hopefully, I hope it ends quickly for the sake of all the people out there, being affected.
I hope we change the law and say, look, these people that are doing this type of stuff, these are the people that get paid during a government shutdown. Not the guys who are shutting it down, the Congress people. The Congress people have to vote to not get paid if they shut it down. Otherwise, they get paid, right?
Yeah.
They have to volunteer and say, I don't get paid. That to me is a tragedy, right? No, you shut the government down, you better be committed to it because you ain't getting paid.
Yeah. That would make an impact, wouldn't it?
And we take that money and pay these people who had nothing to do with this thing being shut down.
Right. Right.
That, in my opinion,
That's
take it or leave
right. Yeah.
it.
Oh, well,
Not
I
that
hope
you
it ends.
asked, but
I hope it ends quickly,
yeah,
for the sake of everybody, and that we get back to business as normal. That's my hope.
agreed. Agreed. From your lips to God's ears.
Well, that's the high level overview of what's going on right now. And we'll see what happens. And
Yeah, we definitely
we'll
will.
we'll bring the news as it occurs, good or bad. So thanks for listening or watching, everybody, and we will see you again on the next one. Take
Right
care.
on. Peace.